But very shortly, I've shared my testimony before, and I'll very quickly go over it. I was raised in the church, right? My dad was SDA, mum was SDA. But like Lucas, I had problems with my families. Everyone, has their own family problems. And because of that, I spent a lot of time rebelling, looking for attention. Who's a middle child? Put your hand up if you're a middle child. Middle, right? So those of you know the struggles of a middle child, right? The older one needs some attention, the younger one needs some attention, and you're just bang in the middle. What to do, you grow up, and we're a little bit different, aren't we, to the rest of our siblings. And so, just like the older ones are one way, right, Amanda? And so are the youngest, right? So being that middle child, I was always looking for attention, right? I remember doing silly things when I was a kid. Looking back at it now, I think, why did I do that? And the relationship I had with my dad, it was I looked up to him a lot. Who looked up to their parents? Your mom, your dad, you look up to them, and it's like a big role model. And I remember seeing my dad, he would do these business trips, and I'd call his phone, and his phone was off because it's a different country. And I remember I'd talk to the voicemail service for 20 minutes, right? Because he would pre-record a message. And I remember talking to him, I said, Dad, when are you coming home? Dad, And I remember, the day I found out he was coming home, I was like, a kid waiting for Santa Claus to come, right? And I remember as soon as I heard that door open, Dad, where are you? So I run downstairs and got that smell of the airport. I don't know if anyone knows that. Just that travelling smell. I was like, Dad, welcome back. And my mum was at home, my dad was away. Men need men role models, don't they? Right? Men need male role models. They need a balance of mum and dad. Yeah. But I didn't have enough of that. And when I did, I was amazed by it. But when I got to around 15, 16, I was rebelling big time. And those of you who remember me a few years ago, remember that my dad would often come up and ask for prayers, and it was very painful, it was very difficult. And for about 2 years, my dad would pray and fast once a week, every single Wednesday, for 2 years, from 2016 to 2018. And I would only get worse and worse and worse. And I remember, got to the point where one day I tried to go home and my dad changed the locks to the doors. I rebelled big time. I won't go into the details, but big time. And my dad said to me, son, are you happy with how you're living? Real trying to talk to me, trying to speak some sense into me. I said, Dad, you don't understand, man. You don't understand me. My dad never listened to me. You ever feel like your parents never hear you? But they do hear you. You don't hear them. Dad, you don't get it, man. You never listen to me. You always tell me do this, do that. But you never understand me as who I am. And so I felt like there was this gap between us. Little did I know he only wished the best for me. Now I see it. And so my dad went from being my best friend to my worst enemy. To the point where I came home, I tried to put the key in the door. And he warned me, he said, son, you live your life, man. If you're going to do that, don't bother coming back. My dad's playing a bluff, He's just a bluff, He's just trying to, get me to come back home. Try to come back home. Change the rules. Now bear in mind at that point, I'll go out around 10 p.m, come home around 3 or 4 a.m. Right? Now you can imagine the stress my dad had. He would be up at 6, go to work. At that time I was doing my exams. I missed almost all of them. I had one GCSE in Russian, which I did the year before then. So you can just imagine the stress he had. And on top of that, he's praying every day and he's fasting 1 day a week. So he's thinking, hold on a minute, I'm fulfilling the formula, but the formula isn't being fulfilled, right? And it's supposed to change. Until one night, I think it was in August or September 2018. Funnily enough, it was prophesying. I was with someone and their mum used to go to a spiritualistic church where they would talk to spirits. And these people who would attend this church, they would have visions. And they'd come together and they'd talk about these visions. Now this woman once drew a sketch. And she drew a sketch of me. And she fulfilled exactly what happened to me that night. I remember this woman telling me this story. Now bear in mind, the woman who had the sketch never saw me. She never saw me. But the woman who I know, she showed me this picture and she told me the story that happened. I remember looking at her, come on, I don't believe that nonsense. Don't tell me those things. But I remember feeling, you ever have this weird feeling when you shit, it's kind of goosebumps. I remember feeling weird about it. I said to my friend, hey bro, we better go to church for a blessing. It's getting scary. We used to joke about this. Oh, let's go to church for a blessing so that everything's alright with us when we're out doing our thing. And it was a Friday night. You ever feel like when things are going cool for you, you feel like you're unstoppable, like no one can stop you, you feel on top of the world. I remember these guys came and said, oh Dan, I want to work with you, you're making all these things, you're doing this cool stuff. I said, yeah, come along with us. My friend comes from London, comes with what he came with. We get a call, some guys are waiting for us at this place. Last week we set someone up, that week we got set up. And I remember, I can see this. We get to this place, there's 2 hills on each side. It's about 10 or 11 p.m. on a Friday in September, around September, so it's dark, right? And these guys, they were waiting for us, and I was set up. And I remember I was running forward, I said, man, you know when you just got in trouble? You know when you're doing something you shouldn't be doing as a kid, and you hear the door open, and your mum's coming, and your dad's coming, oh, here we are, I'm in trouble, and you get your beating, and I'm like, that's exactly what I got. And as I run forward, I look back, where's my friend? The previous week I was sat with him. I was saying, bro, no matter what, I got you, yeah, I got you, bro, we're bros. I don't know if anyone's had that moment, maybe you haven't, but I was close with this guy. I said, man, we got each other no matter what, because he heard the story, what this woman said. The woman said I was going to get set up, and the guy who was closest to me is going to run away. That's exactly what happened. And I remember, I run forward, I look back, where's my friend? They threw ammonia in my face. You know ammonia? Have you ever smelled ammonia? It stings your nose, right? So they throw this in my face, my eyes are burning. I can't open it. I run around, I do a block, and this is right next to my house. My parents have gone to Moldova with my brother. The same week they said, Dan, come with us. I said, no, I'm a cool guy, I'm making money, I'm doing my thing. That's exactly what happened. It set me up. I remember I went back to the house where I was staying. I walk in through the back gate, my vest covered in blood, my eyes all messed up, scar on my forehead over here. I said, wow. Anyway, what a night, right? The next morning, I wake up in the hospital. My brother's there. Some other people are there. My brother sends a picture to my dad. My dad comes back from Moldova. And I remember, after a couple of days, I was back on the sofa. My dad sat there. I said, Dad, God saved your life. You could have been blind, you could have been dead. And he read me the story of Job. How God allowed everything else to happen to him, but he didn't let Satan take his life. And I was in that position. Blind, I couldn't open my eyes for 3 days. You ever got something in your eyes, some soap in your eyes, and you try to open it, it just stings. Right? Now imagine that just 80% worse. When I went to the hospital, Danny took me to this place, to this infirmary that it had somewhere to wash out the eyes. So I had 80% damage to my eyes. 80%. Now I can see absolutely fine. And I was healed in about a week. I remember laying there, my dad telling me, son, you need to look. God loves you, man. He saved you. You could have been dead. And from that point, I said, Dad, I want to change. I remember he said, let's go to Moldova. So I went there. I started working with my uncle for £80 a day. Not an hour, but a day. £80 a day. Right? And I'm working from 8 in the morning till 5 p.m, 6 p.m. Sometimes we've done longer hours. Sometimes we would work. I would stay at the place. And there was no showers, no bathrooms, the toilet was out in a hut outside, a hole in the ground, no showers, so you go to the well to get the water, or there's a hose somewhere, those types of conditions, right? And I'm 19 years old at that time. From 16 to 19, I had this army stage, where I'd go into Moldova, I'll be fine, I'll come back, and I'll get back into the same thing I used to get into. And whilst I was in Moldova, the first time I was there, imagine going from a lifestyle where you have your friends with you, you're cool and everything, and then you're by yourself, no friends, no nothing. And you're thinking, what do I do? And it was very depressing. It was very tough. The second time I returned there, I remember there was nothing else I could do apart from read the Bible. My dad used to always send me sermons, always send me videos to watch. Oh, Dad, leave me alone with this stuff. Until I finally decided to listen to him. And it said there's only two parts in life. You're either with God or you're without Him. You either serve God or you serve Satan. And I remember that night, I got on my knees, and it's the first time I actually prayed. After all that time, I said, God, I'm so sick of the way I'm living. I want to change, but I can't. I was smoking for 5 years already. So, God, I can't give it up. Help me give it up. Help me to change. And I remember I got up from, and of course, after you pray, nothing actually changes. You're still the same person. You still do the same addictions. Everything is the same. But a burden was taken off from me. I shared it with someone. The next day I went to work. The guy offered me a cigarette. I just prayed, God, help me give up. What do I do? He said, do you smoke? I said, no, I don't smoke. And so it was small things that kind of led me to see that God is actually going to help me. And then every day I'd come home from work, read the Bible, write down some verses, call my brothers. I remember I'd call my brothers, they would want to talk to me and say, Dan, you've changed. All you do is talk about the damn Bible. I said, man, who am I going to talk to? My dad was there. My dad, who was once my best friend, who became my enemy, who became my best friend again. And I'd call him and we'd talk. I'd say, Dad, what does this mean? Dad, what does that mean? He said, son, keep reading, keep reading, keep reading. Fast forward from that point to now, I run a company. We have a few guys working for us. I was lost. I had no GCSEs. I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. But I just stayed focused to God. And in the past year, you know what I did? I set a goal. I set the goal of, this is what I want to do. I want to have a company one day. I want to refurbish homes. I want to give opportunity to young people. I gave Dad a job. Art's been working for me for about 2-3 years now. He bought a car, right? My dad works with us. My uncle works with us. You know, all of these things. This was all once a thought, which all I did was I wrote it down on a piece of paper. But in that year, from then till now, it's almost been a year. Last December, we opened. Matt, you've seen the process. Matt was living with me. My cousin was living with me. I live by myself now. It's a very tough process. Jamal, you said you want to read books and stuff. Yeah? The whole year, just dedicated myself to read books. Discipline myself, just try more. And as I tried more, I said, God, please help me. Because the biggest thing that happened from 2018 to 2024 now is I began to ask God, and I began to communicate with Him as though He's alive. He's a living person sat next to me. I said, God, can you help me with this? God, what should we do? Where should we go? How should we do that? Should we take this person? Should we not? And I'm telling you, it's the first year. We almost have £200,000 turnover. I'm 22 years old. I have no experience in business. Right? I have nothing to prove. I'm just getting started. But somehow God gives the ability to talk to the customers, to make the deals. We've been working at an interior designer's house. Arthur, how much is this house? Where's Arthur? I think he went. He went to the kitchen. How much is the house? Over £1 million house. It's a huge house. And somehow we're working there. Yesterday I was working in a kitchen the size of this room. Not yesterday, but this week, working the size of this. And I'm talking to them as, I'm 22 years old, what do I have? And then when I find myself, I think, wow, I have Jesus. Wow, Jesus got me to where I am. Being bold, asking and believing that God will answer it, and then doing what it takes to get there. You can't ask and expect God to give it to you without doing anything. Okay, Dad, this is what you want. Go and do it. And I'll be there to help you.